I'd like to start with a strategy inspired by Professor Reagan's Physics 101 class, which I was a part of. And I know, Professor Reagan, you're here with us today. So on behalf of everyone in your class, we thank you for doing this. At the beginning of each week's lectures, Professor Reagan opens up a word cloud for all 500 of us to submit our most difficult concept of the week. And the frequently mentioned concepts will appear larger in the word cloud, which signifies sort of student consensus. And this is beneficial for many reasons. And I can actually share a screen of what that looks like. This is a picture of a word cloud in general and what it looks like. So inertia was probably something people submitted a lot, which is why it appears so large on the screen, while maybe orientation and transport were smaller. So this actually it decreases our sense of detachment during the lecture, and it brings our struggles back into context, because I know that when students feel accounted for by the prof and by the course itself, we are able to enter this positive upward spiral in being passionate about the subject, being interested, feeling confident, and in turn performing well. And we're able to find common ground with other students, which is so precious these days. I honestly felt a huge sense of relief when I saw the words Riley's criterion appear in that word cloud after learning about optics the first time, and I'm sure I'm not the only one who feels that way. Secondly, this provides a lot of valuable information for the professor to extract from the word cloud. It tells them where to dedicate extra resources and time to most benefit students during the upcoming live lectures, and it allows them to increase the overall reception of the content, which is definitely the overall objective. It's easy to overlook the minute differences in topic complexity when you're so well versed with the subject, but students are much more sensitive to these little changes, and so it's very important to have that input from the people who the class is directly being tailored to. It can also perhaps help the professor reflect on particular teaching methods that were used to deliver that piece of content, and why it perhaps might have contributed to the lack of clarity, and why it might have been less effective. This is very important for professors who are trying to experiment with different teaching approaches and explanation styles, especially in the context of a rapidly changing environment like a COVID situation where everything is remote, and there's a lot of change going on. Finally, and probably most obviously, this is a very important exercise for the students. And I think even if my word were a mere speck on the word doodle and the professor didn't even see it, the exercise of actually answering the poll itself and reflecting on what I'm not sure about is in itself a tool for learning. And it's also very cathartic, and I enjoy it. Being able to critique my own understanding of my learning and of my understanding of the content is an important skill to have and to develop and practice early on in our university careers. And it's something to be sure to help us succeed in the future. So when students' shared concerns are seen by the professor, they're more likely to be addressed. This translates directly into better learning outcomes within the course. And also, these polls are just a much appreciated change of pace within lectures. They're bold, they're colorful, there's no right or wrong, and they're able to recapture students' attention really, really effectively for that reason. And I think this goes for all unmarked clicker questions in general. They're a great way to create engagement during lectures. And I know in Biology 111, Professor Hargreaves actually polled how big in kilometers squared was the largest fungus ever discovered. And I think that effectively stunned us into staying awake for the rest of the lecture without anything else. So yeah, as students, we'd love to see professors similarly rethinking and repurposing these traditional lecture polls into something special and creative.